All right, here we go. We're going to go into the AFC South. As I said, some of these games already started, and some of them are finals. It's going to have no bearing on what I'm going to show you here. Let's go through the lineups and who I think is strong and who is not. I have both the AFC South and the West that we have to go through. I already have them decided how they're going to go. I have Houston Texans in first. Deshaun Watson, guy's a monster. If he can get his sacks down, this team, I mean, they went 11-5. He led the NFL in sacked for an offense. I think it was like 61 times. Just an incredible amount. They land Duke Johnson. They land Carlos Hyde. They'll fill in fine for Lamar Miller. And even Tywan Jones isn't that bad as a 3. Loaded at receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the best in football, certainly up there. And then you have Will Fuller in this Kiki Kute as the 3, although he's hurt. They have high hopes for him. Good kicking game, good defense. Jadeveon Clowney might make a little bit of a difference in missing him. But so the Texans, let's go over the Texans and let us see. Okay, move that there. Let's take a look at the Texans' schedule and what we think they're going to finish doing. Bear with me here as this is slow as fuck. Okay. Texans went 11-5 last year. Let's start marking it off. Right? Texans, I think they are going to lose to New Orleans on the road, so I'm going to make that a loss. They're going to beat Jacksonville in that game. At the Chargers, I'm going to say that's a loss because it's a road game. I'm going to say they're going to win the Carolina home game. I say they're going to beat Atlanta in that home game. I'm going to say they're going to lose to Kansas City. This Indianapolis, we're going to make that a toss-up game because it's a road. They will beat Oakland, and I think they're going to beat Jacksonville in both of those games. I'm not impressed. That's 5. At Baltimore, I'm going to give that a loss. I'm going to have them beating the Colts again. I'm going to have them losing to New England. The Denver game is a home game. We'll give them that win. At Tennessee, I'm going to make that a 50-50 game. At Tampa, I'm going to say that even that's a win. And then Tennessee to finish the season at home. Also, I'll give them a win, and that could even be a split, technically. So I have them at 8-5 with 3 splits. So assuming they take 2 of those 3, you're talking about a team that more than likely is going to go 10-6 again. And let's make a note of that. So we think that is going to be at 10-6. Which actually, that drops them down a game from last year. Okay, now moving on. Tennessee Titans. Interesting team to figure out. You never know what you're going to get with this team. The Titans were 9-7, and they play like they're 9-7. You absolutely have no idea what you're going to get from this team. They went and got Ryan Tannehill. So that'll make that interesting how that's going to shake down with Mariota, whether he gets hurt like he tends to do, or whether the fans just get tired of Marcus Mariota, should that become a problem like it did last year. Derrick Henry, stud, when he wants to be. Deion Lewis as the backup. And then the receivers, Corey Davis, A.J. Brown. They added Adam Humphries in the slot, Delaney Walker. There's nothing to be too excited about on this team's offense. But I got news for you. Their defense is lethal. It's as good as any in the league. And it's going to keep them in a lot of games. Let's get to the drop down here. I believe that the Titans, in my opinion, are going to be the second place team. The Titans went 9-7 last year. Now, I'm not going to lie. So to show you that I'm honest, this game finished already. I had the Titans losing to Cleveland. So I marked that as a loss, even though that is already incorrect on my part. Titans, I believe, will beat the Colts at home. In Jacksonville, I believe they'll beat them. In Atlanta, I'm going to give that a toss-up game. The Buffalo game, I'm going to say at home they'll win that game. At Denver, I'm going to mark that as a loss. The Charger game, I'm going to mark as a loss. Tampa Bay at home, I'm going to give them that as a win. At Carolina, I'm going to give that as a loss. Kansas City, I'm going to give as a loss. Jacksonville at home, I'll say they win. The Colts in Indy, I'm going to make that a toss-up game. At Oakland, I say they'll win. Houston, and here's a tough one. They play Houston back. What a bottom stretch 3, man. No fucking thank yous there. Houston, New Orleans, Houston. I will say that I think that they're going to split the Houston game. So we'll give them 1 win, 1 loss. I say they're going to lose New Orleans. So basically right now I have them at 7-7 with 2 toss-em-up games. Let's split those up. We got them at 8-8 this year. The Tennessee Titans. 8-8. They were 9-7 last year. So by that virtue, they may actually drop a game. Okay. Next team. I have the Colts. I think they're going to miss Andrew Luck. I don't think Jacoby Brissett is anywhere near as good as Andrew Luck, but we will see. I also don't know if Marlon Mack can do a whole season worth of running, but this team does have some weapons. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I am not sold on them the same way as Andrew Luck, and I think it's a big difference whether he's hurt or not. So you have Jacoby Brissett, you have Marlon Mack. They like this Nyheim Hines. T.Y. Hilton, they add Devin Funchess. It's not a very deep receiving core. And then you have Doyle and Eric Ebron. They're definitely good at tight end. And they still have Adam Vinatieri kicking. Let's go over their win total. And are they going to do better than 8-8? Personally, I don't think so. Okay. So we have them against the Chargers. I believe that will be a loss. At Tennessee, I'm going to say that's a loss. I'm going to give them this home game in Atlanta. I'm not wild about Atlanta. I'm going to give them the Oakland game. At Kansas City is a loss. Then comes the bye. Houston at home, I'm going to make that a toss-up. I don't believe that's a gimme even at home. I think they're going to lose to Denver. They're going to lose at Pittsburgh. I'll have them beating Miami. The Jacksonville game, I'm going to give them that win because it's a home game. At Houston, I have as a loss. Tennessee at home. I don't think they're going to win it, but I'm going to put it in the Splitsville. At Tampa, I don't know if they're going to win that game either. I'm going to put that in Splitsville. At New Orleans is a loss. I think they're going to lose that Carolina game. And even at Jacksonville, that's a Splitsville. Listen, man, I have this team, I'm sorry to say, the Colts. I have the Colts with going 4-8 before Splitsvilles. And even giving them those 2, I'm going to say that they go 6-10 this year. I do not believe that they will have a 10-6 year or anywhere near it. And then the final team in the division, and arguably will be the worst team, and I thought that they wouldn't be that good anyways. The bad news is that also Nick Foles is hurt, so they have to deal with that problem. Let's take a look at Jacksonville, who probably will finish in last place in the South. They have Nick Foles. They're going with the rookie, Gardner Minshew. They'll probably stick with him. Leonard Fournette. They are not deep. Alfred Blue's hurt. DJ Chark, Chris Conley, Dede Westbrook. They've got a decent core of young receivers, and they are weak at tight end. I don't see this team doing much at all this year. And honestly, neither should you. Will they be better than the 6-10 Colts? Probably not. But let's see here. Kansas City, loss. At Houston, loss. Tennessee at home, I'll put that as a maybe. At Denver, loss. At Carolina, loss. Look at this schedule. They get to play Denver, Carolina, New Orleans in a row. New Orleans, loss. So, I mean, right off the bat, loss, maybe, loss. That's 5 losses. At Cincinnati, toss-up. Jets at home, I'm going to give them that game. Houston at home, I'm going to give that a toss-up. Maybe, as a matter of fact, no, I can't even give that a toss-up. That's a loss. At Colts, maybe. At Tennessee, loss. Oh boy, this team I don't have doing good at all. I'm going to give them the Tampa Bay win, which is probably a maybe. They're going to lose to the Chargers. I'm going to even say they beat Oakland, which may not happen. At Atlanta, I don't believe is going to happen. And then they finish with the Colts at the end in a home game, and I'm going to even say they win that. So I have them before the toss-up games going 4-9. Man, that is bad. If you give them the toss-up games, even if you give them 2, they're 6-10. I don't think they're going to win those. I'm going to give them 1. So I'm going to say this team goes 5-11, which is what they were last year. So, AFC South, I think this comes out backwards for whatever reason. But I'm just showing it anyway so you can see it as proof, even though it's backwards. It is the proof. And there you go. That's me going over the AFC South. All right, next up, we're going to do AFC West.